So today, that's exactly the kind of thing I want to talk about is are we reaching? Are we reaching for something new? Are we trying? Are we really working to expand our experience of life? Because I know for myself, and I'm very conscious when I get up here to talk of speaking for myself. I'm trying really not speaking for everybody in the space or saying, or we, or oh, you ought to be doing da 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 da, because I drives me crazy when people do that. Anyway, just had to get that off my chest. So, speaking for myself, a year or so ago, I know that I was very much wrapped up in the same thing every day. I was in a rut, and I had been for a long time without even really recognizing it or realizing it. And some people and some circumstances, some situations came along and shook me loose of that, which leads me to being here with all of you today, which is great. And I have been pushed and challenged and stretched and encouraged and frustrated and angry and upset and cried some tears and been really happy and all of that stuff over the last 12 months. And it's been great. It's been great. And I did something yesterday that I haven't done in like forever. Um, I packed myself up. I worked at it, starting kind of Thursday and Friday and kind of broke out of my own pattern and did some things in preparation for day, like a day ahead of time, a day earlier than I usually do, so that I could free up my Saturday, so that I could have my Saturday for me. Do I dare? Some of you may understand this. I mean, for me, it was kind of a big deal because I have been one to put everybody else first in a lot of ways. And so it was a challenge for me. And I found myself trying to talk myself out of it. So I called up a friend who I knew who had relocated up to Prescott a couple years ago, a year or so ago, a friend of mine from high school. And I made a breakfast appointment with him and his wife. So that once I made that appointment, it was like, no, there's no backing out now. Because I already knew that there was a fine arts and coffee festival going on in the square in Prescott yesterday. All that to say that I broke the pattern for me. And it was incredibly uncomfortable in the beginning until I really relaxed into it. And I was okay just going and doing this, spending time with a friend, stretching myself, and just doing something by myself with me and spending some time with a friend and then spending the rest of the day doing stuff that I wanted to do for me. And so it really kind of capped off a year of growing and stretching and doing things differently. And what it did for me is it brought up an awareness of how habitual about things I tend to be. Which was really it was an interesting and unexpected awareness. It's like when I go to Taco Bell, and I go to Taco Bell about once every couple of weeks. I always get the same thing every time for years. And it's like, okay, well, maybe that's something to look at. Maybe that's something to look at. So, am I stuck in a rut? So, I'm going to ask you to ask that question. I'm going to invite you to ask that question. Are there habits and patterns in my life that are there just because they've always been there or are they there because they serve me and they still continue to serve me? Because what I'm finding for myself is that some of these patterns are there, yes, because at one point I decided that they were going to serve me and keep me learning and growing or keep me safe for a period of time. And now maybe they're getting in the way. Like my Taco Bell thing. I mean, there's some. I mean, there could be some really cool stuff on the Taco Bell menu that I haven't tried yet. That could be fun, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm willing to entertain the possibility, right? Why not be willing to at least entertain the possibility and say, you know what, I'm going to try something different, or maybe I just let go of Taco Bell and go somewhere else because sometimes I just don't want to cook, and that's okay. Especially when you're single. And I live by myself. Cooking for one is pretty challenging sometimes. Yeah, I know. I know. I see nods in the room. So I tell you all, and, this is all fun because my commitment to you when I stand up here is to say, you know what, I'm going to talk from my own experience. I'm going to talk from, what I've learned from Science of Mind and learn from other spiritual writers and learn from all this other stuff. Because my goal is to stand here and see, not only talk to you and share with you with what I've done, what I've learned, and what's possible for all of us, but to let you know that I see you. I see who you are. I see that you're learning and growing. I see that there is a possibility for you beyond what maybe you can imagine for yourself. I look out here and I try to see the best in all of us because that when I see it in you, it means I can see it in me. So it's a real symbiotic kind of relationship we have going on here. We're learning and growing together. I have this role and we all have our own roles here. We get to support each other in this process. And that's the beauty of it for me, is that it's all of us together. And Ernest Holmes writes in The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Centers for Spiritual Living, he says, there is but one mind and one law, which all people use consciously or unconsciously. There is one ultimate reality, but within this are many experiences. One ultimate reality, and it's infinite in its scope. Infinite is one of those words that I think gets shortchanged sometimes because we throw it around a lot. But infinite is pretty huge, right? I mean, it's infinite. We talk about infinite mind, we talk about infinite life, infinite love, infinite peace, and we just throw this word around infinite. It's like it goes on. It's like we can't put a cap on it. Scientists tell us we're living in a universe that is forever expanding. I'm not sure how they know that, but if they say so, so be it. So if this universe we live in is expanding and we are part of all that, and there's a spark of the universe that's in me, then that means I'm forever expanding, right? Because I'm made of that. I am learning and growing. And so how do I intend to get out of my own way? What are some of the things that I can do to get out of my own way? One of the things that I've discovered for myself is that I get to choose the people that are around me. So I get to decide who is in my life, who is in my world. And if they don't fit, then I can choose not to be around them. Right? I mean, I can still love and support them and celebrate them and all of that. There is a whole theory, there's a whole like success theory. I don't know who came up with it and but it pops in my head right now, so I'm going to spit it out. Is that we tend to be the average or the sum total of the five people closest to us. right? Or the 5 people who we spend the most time around. That is our core, that is our core group that reflects to us who we are and who has a lot of impact, right? Has a lot of effect on us, on who we are, how we behave, how we learn, how we grow, right? So somebody spit that out at me, I don't know, several months ago, and I started looking. I'm like, okay. And all of a sudden, because I had set an intention for myself about how I wanted to learn, how I wanted to grow, how I wanted to live, all of a sudden those faces started changing, all on their own. All on their own. I didn't even have to cut ties. Because all of a sudden I started drawing people into my world that were supporting the direction that I had decided I wanted to go. So I started attracting people into my world that were supporting what I wanted to do. They were supporting who I wanted to become, not who I am necessarily, although that's part of it, but who I wanted to become. So who are the cheerleaders around you? Because we can consciously go out and recruit these people too. Doesn't mean we just have to simply attract them, but we can go recruit. See, this is the kind of person I want to work on public speaking. I want to work on improv. So I'm going to go find Joe. Right? Not that I'm going to work on improv, but if you want to work on improv, go find Joe. You want to work on public speaking? Call me. I'll help you on public speaking. You see, that's how it works. We can go find them or we can just simply attract them. We set the intention in our lives, not necessarily an expectation, but we set an intention. It says, this is the direction I want to go. This is the kind of life I want to live. This is the kind of person I want to become. This is the kind of experience I want to have. This is how I want to expand my way of being. What does that look like? And are there people around me or that I know or that I would like to know that I can go talk to or that I can recruit or however that works for you? What can I do to start creating that, right? Because we have tools, we have ways of doing that. And one of those ways is starting with beginning to just kind of shift the way we look at the world, right? To have a little courage and step out a little bit, like Annie in the song, 15 years old, first person through Ellis Island. Wow. Can you imagine? Amazing. We don't have to be that courageous, or maybe we do, depending on where we are in life. But to have a little courage and step out, step forward just a little bit and shift the way I am viewing the world. Neil deGrasse Tyson wrote this. If you think of feelings you have when you are awed by something, for example, knowing that elements in your body trace to exploded stars, I call that a spiritual reaction. Speaking of awe and majesty, where words fail you. A sense of awe and majesty to such a degree that words fail us. When was the last time? I read that and I was like, well, when was the last time I actually felt like that? Where I was looking at something or having an experience that just words would not begin to describe that experience. There have been a few times in my life, but I would like to have that again. I'm open to having that again. Are you? Can we be? Can I get outside? Can I get out of my own way enough to open to that kind of experience of life. That's an intention. And to be able to walk in a world where I can expect that, or have an intention that says, you know what, I can live a life like that, a life filled with wonder, where all of a sudden from time to time I get caught off guard to such a degree that I am in awe of what I am seeing, in awe of what I'm experiencing, accepting something greater about, not only about me, or maybe just expecting something greater about the world. Can the world I live in be better than it is? Absolutely. Can I see a better world? Can I be open to the experience of a better world in which I live? Because I know I've been kind of taking a news break very consciously and very intentionally, because there's plenty going on out there that I could get very wrapped up in very quickly. But I'm choosing not to right now, because I want to hold consciously hold a higher vision. I'm not going to be ignorant of it, but I want to spend most of my time being very conscious of holding a higher vision for our world, for our experience of life. And to engage in a lot of all that stuff, not helpful for me, for what I know I need to do. I've got a friend who said, we were talking with a friend, he's like, I need to be an advocate. I said, you know what? You be an advocate. That is your calling. Absolutely. The world needs people like that. I am called to do this, right? I am called to hold a higher vision, to see a place where a world is driven by love, driven by peace, driven by joy, driven by harmony. I can hold that intention. That is what I can do, because that is doing what I do best, right? I'm not great at all that other. This I'm good at. And if someday I can do that, great. Someday I can do that. Today, this is what I can do. That is my higher vision for me, and that is holding a higher vision for the world. Not sure why I got off on all that, but that's important. Oh, I know what. See, that's where that's where that was going. In the New Testament, Jesus tells us not to hide our light under a bushel basket. What is your light? What is our light? What is the light you have to share? See, that was my light. That's my light to share. What is the light each of, you know, we all have our own gifts to give. We all get to express our point of light in our own unique way, right? Each of us has our own unique expression of this universal power and presence that we call God or spirit or whatever we want to name it. Divine purple penguin. Call it what you want. The name of it matters not. But it is the infinite power and presence, the one mind, the universal presence, the core, the essence, the light, whatever you want to call it. Express it the way you feel called to express it, just the way I feel called to express mine. We all have our unique way of doing that and being that. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says this: it is not the end of the physical body that should worry us. Rather, our concern must be to live while we are alive, to release our inner selves from the spiritual death that comes with living behind a facade designed to conform to external definitions of who and what we are. Wow. No bushel basket, no masks, no conforming to the world because that's what we think the world expects of us. I mean, I have my own kind of, I call him an accountability partner. His name is Christopher Rausch. And he's a life coach. He was a very successful corporate person, VP of operations, and all that kinds of stuff. He left it all behind to be a life coach. And he calls himself the no excuses coach. And he is no excuses. And he is all about this, living life out loud. Living life out loud as we are. No hiding, no masks, no facades, no limits. Because he's really bought into this whole idea of releasing our inner selves from the spiritual death that comes from living behind a facade designed to conform. It's like one of these days, I'm just going to show up here in jeans and a t-shirt because that's the truth. Truth is, that's how I'm most comfortable. I'm just going to do it just to have fun. I'm not going to give you any warning. It's just going to happen. I mean, I can do this all day long. Trust me. And it feels good most days. But some days I just want to show up here in jeans and a t-shirt just because it would be fun to do it. Thank you. Just got lots of nods saying, yeah, that'd be great. You do that. So yeah. But you see, this is part of that. Right? Part of this is done to keep everybody out there comfortable. Because this is what they think is okay. Right? And they think, oh, this, that, and the other. I can tell you all kinds of stories about, because I've had this discussion with many ministers over the years. Why is a trap? And that's a whole other conversation. But this is about being real. Expanding our livingness is about being real. About letting go of what we think, letting go of what they think, or letting go about what we think about what they think. Right? It's this nasty little circle we get into, and we buy into it, and all of a sudden I turned around and I was like trapped. I'm like, what the heck happened? Where did I go? And so it's a matter of learning to peel away all that stuff and be okay with the scratches and the scratches and the stretches and the the missing buttons and all of that stuff, which leads me to my next quote. Thank you very much. My final quote, which is not in there because I thought about it this morning. We'll see if I can get through this. What is real? Asked the rabbit one day. Come here. You read it. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
What is real? Asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick out handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real. Does it hurt? Asked the rabbit. Sometimes, said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. When you are real, You don't mind being hurt. Does it happen all at once, like being wound up? He asked. Or bit by bit? It doesn't happen all at once, said the skin horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Nancy. So that's living. So let's talk about how we practice this week. Oh, there we go. Boom. So we're pulling in Wayne Dyer. We're bringing Wayne Dyer back from the beginning. We're going to use him as a book set of you know, bookends. So this week, give yourself 5 minutes of contemplation in awe of everything you see around you. Go outside and turn your attention to the many miracles around you. This 5 minute a day regimen of appreciation and oh, did I cut it off? Right. Anyway, you've got the whole thing. So 5 minutes in the beginning of the day, 5 minutes at the end of the day. The end of the day is gratitude for everything. In the morning, we're acknowledging the awe for all of that. There we go. There it is. Appreciation and gratitude at the end of the day help you focus your life in awe. There we go. So we get it all. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So that is our practicing the principles for this week, courtesy of Wayne Dyer. Thank you, Wayne. Let's see. Great. So let's pray. Let's put this into practice together. So, with gratitude for all of this today, gratitude for each other, for our time, for the wisdom, for the happiness and the tears, for the unbridled joy in just being together. For all of this, let us be grateful in this moment as we recognize the one power and presence that is God in, through, and around each and every one of us, or the divine purple penguin, as however you want to name it. We name it good. We name it love and light and truth. And we go forward into this week celebrating each other, celebrating health and wholeness, happiness and prosperity, an ever expanding community in which we celebrate each other. We celebrate our church family, our community, our city, our state, our country, our world, knowing at the very core and center of all of this is truly love, is joy, is peace, is celebration, is a truly ecstatic sense that good greets us at every turn. It flows through us and comes to us as a constantly and ever expanding experience of the abundance and prosperity of health and wholeness of life as it expresses as each and every one of us. And we rest in that. We feel it vibrate around us. Closer than the very breath we breathe, the beating of our hearts. It is right here now. And so we go forth knowing that all is well, that life is very good and very good as each and every one of us. And we let it be so. And so it is.